There's $27 million in that building that I put over there. Alone, just the studio.
From 50 Cent's multi-million-dollar private workspace to Dr. Dre's hidden studio carved beneath his Brentwood estate, all the way to Jay-Z's elite creative hub where chart-topping records are born. This is a look inside the most extravagant rooms in modern music. And it begins in the depths of Dr. Dre's Brentwood property. What does it require to craft anthems like Still Dre and The Next Episode without ever stepping beyond your front door? In Dre's world, it meant constructing a 10,000 square foot subterranean studio beneath his $40 million Brentwood mansion. Essentially a top-tier production complex buried underneath a French chateau-style home. This is no casual bedroom rig with a laptop tossed on a desk. It's a full-scale audio research bunker where the West Coast architects shape projects for Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and himself, free from hourly fees or commercial scheduling. The mansion, purchased in 2014 for $40 million, was only the beginning. Dre reportedly invested another $5 to $10 million excavating the cavernous creative space. The studio stretches across interconnected rooms, a main command center, vocal isolation booths, and a lounge designed for collaborators riding out all-night sessions. Every wall is wrapped in acoustic engineering, custom bass control systems, floating flooring, and absorption layers that wipe out exterior sound, forming the controlled environment behind Dre's trademark thundering lows and razor-sharp highs. And the gear collection borders on mythic. Dre keeps 4 to 5 Akai MPC 3000 units locked in for programming those signature West Coast rhythms, classic EMU SP1200 samplers for gritty vintage coloration, and his trusted Sony C800G tube microphone, a $10,000 staple for pristine rap vocals. But the centerpiece was the SSL 4000G Plus console, a 48-channel analog giant that broke records at auction in 2025 with a $165,000 sale, the highest recorded price for a piece of hip-hop production hardware. Dre has spoken for years about staying tactile, inventive, and deeply hands.
Back in the day, I had, let's say, 1 or 2 keyboards to make an entire album. So I had to figure out ways to make the sounds different. So I would go in pawn shops and find guitar pedals and what have you to make the sounds in this one particular keyboard sound different, so I can make an entire album using one keyboard.
For monitoring, the room is powered by custom Augsburger Duo 12 to 15 mains, dual 12-inch woofers paired with 15-inch subs running $20,000 to $30,000 a pair, delivering the engulfing low-frequency presence Dre favors. Alongside them sit classic Yamaha NS10M reference monitors for surgical mixing, plus outboard relics like DBX 160 compressors that sharpen his drum work. The entire ecosystem runs through an Avid Pro Tools HDX backbone, blending digital precision with the analog heat that defines Dre's sonic identity. Above ground, the mansion includes solar arrays, a gym, a sauna, and a private theater, all integrated so Dre can flow from family moments to crafting multi-platinum records without leaving the property. And if Dre commands a fleet of MPCs and a record-breaking SSL centerpiece, the next artist on this list pushes scale even further with Dolby Atmos-ready film infrastructure. Welcome to 50 Cent's G-Unit Studios. Plenty of artists talk about empire building, but 50 turned a colossal 956,000 square foot warehouse in Shreveport, Louisiana into the second-largest black-owned production facility in the country. This is not a simple recording room, it's a complete film and television engine where he develops the Power Universe, the BMF franchise, and their accompanying soundtracks under one massive roof. Secured in 2023 for just $2,400 a year on a 30-year lease with a 15-year renewal option, the facility marks 50's shift from mixtape king to full-scale multimedia powerhouse. Previously operating as Millennium Studios, a city-owned complex, it was redesigned by 50 with roughly $3 to $4 million in renovations and new equipment. The space is built for adaptability, expansive sound stages, Dolby Atmos-equipped post-production suites, and green screen environments for hybrid shoots. The interior leans into a sharp monochrome palette, black and white corridors, polished concrete, and G-Unit branding woven through grey half-carpeted lobby areas. 2 standout offices sit at its core, including 50's personal suite outfitted with custom art, like a portrait in the vanity room. For recording, the setup remains serious but streamlined. The Sony C800G used during the creation of In DA Club now lives inside G-Unit vocal booths for soundtrack sessions. A Newman U87, the same MIC showcased in his 2007 MTV Cribs home studio, continues to capture the aggression behind albums like Curtis. Vocals typically run through a Neve 1073 preamp for weight and presence, then through an Avalon VT737SP for its compressor and tube coloration. And whenever 50 speaks on this facility, you can hear the unmistakable conviction of an artist who built a legacy brick by brick.
$27 million in that building that I put over there. Alone, just the studio. Everything that I bought away from that is shit that I bought just because I need them to feel what you feel, what we feel right now.
Yeah.
Here. So it's not a bad place to go. In the process, it makes the place cool.
The mixing array is anchored by an SSL 4000G outfitted with E-Series modules, feeding directly into Pro Tools and a Dolby Atmos configuration designed for cinematic television scoring. When G-Unit Studios officially opened in August 2024 following extensive renovations, it marked the launch of 50's three-phase neighborhood initiative. a blueprint that includes housing projects and workforce development, elevating the space far beyond a standard recording facility. And while 50's rooms rely on $10,000 Sony Tube microphones paired with Neve front-end chains, the next artist on this list engineered an environment loaded with multiple SSL consoles and custom Augsburger systems from wall to wall. Welcome to Jay-Z's Bassline Studios. Some of the rawest masterpieces were born in the least polished environments, and Bassline, tucked inside Manhattan's Chelsea district, operated as the strategic command center where Rockefeller Records built its empire, a stripped-down creative bunker that prioritized independence and instinct. Established in the early 2000s at 127 West 26th Street, this multi-room compound became the birthplace of the Blueprint, the Black Album, and other defining works, recorded in a space that traded luxury for focus and total creative autonomy. The design included 3 linked production zones, enabling quick shifts between recording, mixing, and idea sessions. At its heart sat the primary control room, lined with racks of analog hardware, bordered by a treated vocal booth and a lounge where late-night freestyle runs unfolded through smoky air. Acoustic features included custom Jockey 2 FX diffusers coated in Nardo Grey to match the room's aesthetic, along with bass control elements and floating floors built for precision. The equipment list was classic analog muscle. Its centerpiece was an SSL 464G Plus console, a 64-channel workhorse, restored for the 2023 full-scale recreation at the Brooklyn Public Library. Jay used this board for spreading multitrack sessions and for old-school mixdowns on Kanye's early stems. Additional rooms housed SSL 9000J and 4000G Plus desks dedicated to arranging beats and stacking layers. For vocals, Jay leaned on a Neumann U87 running through an Avalon 737 on tracks such as 99 Problems, complemented by a Neumann U67 for tonal detail and an occasional Sony C800G for cleaner, radio-ready refrains. Over time, Jay's approach shifted toward creating music with longevity rather than simply increasing out.
Because we can't use the word retirement for you.
Yeah. No, I already did that. I can't do that ever again. I would say I want to make music, but it has to be something important. I don't want to just make a bunch of tunes.
Monitoring was powered by custom Augsburger Classic 215 speakers, dual 15-inch systems refurbished specifically for the exhibit, paired with Yamaha NS10MS to verify mix translation. The outboard rack included Empirical Labs distressors and API 550 equalizers for punch-heavy drums, TubeTech CL1B units for smooth vocal control, and a Lexicon 480L for immersive spatial effects. Engineer Young Guru managed editing and session flow through an Avid Pro Tools HDX rig. Although Bassline officially shut its doors in 2010, the 2023 life-size reconstruction funded by Rock Nation preserved everything, from the wooden trim to the patch bay layouts, turning it into a tribute to one of hip-hop's most important creative spaces. And if Jay's domain revolved around 64-channel SSL power and vintage Neumann tube microphones, the next artist on the list built a studio shaped by battery-powered MPCs and ultra-portable equipment. Welcome to Kanye West's Yeezy Campus Studio. Deep in Cody, Wyoming, Kanye established a completely different vision of artistic space. The Yeezy compound spans more than 10,000 acres of open ranchland, where he converted a modest dining cabin into an experimental hideout merging music, design, and isolation. Purchased in 2019 for $14 million as part of the Westlake Ranch property, the site evolved from a remote Yeera recording refuge into a fully functioning creative campus where gospel rap, what began as a simple wooden cabin tucked along rolling Wyoming hills, grew, by 2020, into a stark concrete compound modeled after his Calabasas headquarters. The site is arranged into linked creative zones, a central studio of roughly 1,000 to 2,000 square feet fitted with portable rigs for on-the-fly setups, nearby workshops where Yeezy prototypes are molded, and open areas used for Sunday service choir rehearsals. The acoustics are minimal but intentional, foam panels, layered rugs, and exposed wood doing the heavy lifting, all powered by solar infrastructure tied to ranch-wide sustainability efforts that include sheep farming for Yeezy wool. The equipment focuses on mobility and hybrid workflows. Ye relied on an Ensoniq ASR-10 sampler during the Wyoming sessions, heavily used for Yeera production and visible during the TIE Versus The People sessions. He also kept an Akai MPC 2000XL for drums and an MPC Live battery-powered standalone unit for off-grid programming, often paired with a MacBook running DAWs. The Roland TR-808 became essential for the stripped-down sound of Ye, its bare-bones pulse shaping the album's isolated feel. For vocals, Kanye rotated between a vintage Neumann U87, often seen with a windscreen during live streams, a Sony C800G for clean melodic parts, and a Telefunken Elam 251 tube MIC for the gospel. To manage makeshift spaces, the Chaotica Eyeball Isolation Dome was a staple, and at times he relied on iPhone X voice memos. As much as 20 to 30% of Jesus is King and Donda reportedly came from improvised phone takes. His primary interface during these sessions was a Universal Audio Apollo Twin MKI core, providing tracking capabilities in the most remote conditions. Monitoring included KRK Rokit 8G3 powered speakers stationed at the Wyoming desk and Yamaha NS10MS for precision checks. Synth choices expanded the sonic palette with an Oberheim OB8 for airy textures, a Minimoog Voyager for low-end lines, and a Dave Smith Tempest for experimental percussion. A TubeTech CL1B compressor handled vocal dynamics throughout Donda. Everything flowed through either Avid Pro Tools or FL Studio, with plugins, including a pirated instance of Xfer Serum spotted during sessions, shaping modern layers. The luxury of this environment isn't ornamental. It's the restorative isolation of a ranch that cost $14 million, with another $36 million invested in domes, laboratories, and ambitious plans for a 100,000-seat amphitheater. Solar power and sustainable farming keep the entire process self-contained, enabling the communal, spiritual direction of Donda far from city interference. Yeast Wyoming Outpost relied on samplers and classic Roland 808s, but this next artist studio revolves around $15,000 tube microphones and bespoke Augsburg. When Rick Ross describes living like a boss, it's not hyperbole. The Promised Land mansion in Fayetteville, Georgia stands as a monument to Southern rap grandeur, a full recording studio carved into the basement of one of the nation's largest private residences. He acquired the estate in 2014 for $5.9 million after its foreclosure from Evander Holyfield, transforming the 45,000 to 54,000 square foot property on 322 acres into his command center for crafting trap anthems amid extraordinary luxury. The main residence boasts 109 rooms, 12 bedrooms and 21 bathrooms, all framed by a white stone exterior, marble interiors, and sweeping dual staircases. Ross christened it Promised Land as a symbol of the journey from modest beginnings to elite success. The recording suite occupies roughly 1,000 to 2,000 square feet in the basement, designed for isolation and workflow efficiency. It includes a central control room for mixing, a vocal booth with direct sightlines for collaboration, and acoustics tuned with foam treatments and bass traps built to tame the mansion-rattling 808s. The basement connects into a network of amenities, a custom gym for cool-downs after sessions, a 135-seat theater for playback, a 2-lane bowling alley for breaks, and an indoor lap pool for winding down. Outside, the estate spans private roadways, lakes, and manicured lawns. Terrain Ross famously maintains himself from inside an air-conditioned tractor equipped with its own radio system. Security measures include fortified gates and round-the-clock surveillance. His gear selection is high-end and vocal-focused. A Neumann U87 condenser, seen in footage from 113-room walkthroughs, delivers the clean articulation heard on tracks like Blow, paired with preamps that emphasize his commanding low register. He also keeps a Telefunken Elam 251 tube microphone valued at around $15,000 for rich, vintage-style tone ideal for MMG collaborations. Shure SM58S and Shure U2 wireless mics cover quick demos and mobile tracking around the sprawling property. Monitoring includes Yamaha NS10MS for accuracy and custom Augsburger Duo 8 Minimains priced at $10,000 to $15,000 per pair for the deep, controlled low-end required in trap production. KRK Rokit 5G3 monitors, spotted at position 108 in recordings, serve for fast reference checks. His chain likely features an Avalon preamp, long rumored in early forums as part of his Port of Miami workflow. Upgrades to the mansion, including the studio build-out, added an estimated $5 to $10 million to its worth, bringing the property's current valuation to between $30 and $75 million. Ross later expanded the grounds with an 87-acre purchase in 2019 for $1 million, bringing the total footprint to 322 acres. The estate has doubled as a film location for productions like Coming to America interiors and various music videos, turning it into both a creative command post and a resort-style retreat. And while Ross Underground Suite relies on rare Telefunken tube microphones paired with bespoke monitoring arrays, the next artist studio centers on Sennheiser wireless systems and an SSL desk running 80-channel automation. Welcome to Eminem's Rochester Hills Mansion Studio. Eminem's climb from 8 Miles trailer parks to life inside a quiet, fortified estate is a defining hip-hop arc, and his Rochester Hills workspace encapsulates that transition perfectly. Purchased in 2003 for $4.8 million, the 17,000-square-foot home in an exclusive Oakland County enclave became Marshall Mathers' private creative shelter, a place to craft introspective records without outside intrusion while still keeping close to his daughter Haley. Resting on nearly 6 acres beside Stony Creek Metro Park, the property offered the solitude needed for heavy writing sessions. Built in 1996 using imported finishes and detailed woodwork, it houses 6 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, and a basement studio measuring roughly 1,000 to 2,000 square feet. The layout includes a sound-sealed live room for takes, a central control hub with clear visibility into isolation booths, and gear store. Acoustic design relies on fabric-wrapped wall treatments, bass absorption, and floating flooring, forming a neutral, dead environment tailored for razor-edged highs and deep low-end rap mixes. Because the studio is integrated directly into the home, Eminem could shift from recording to the mirrored wall gym, or review mixes inside the 135-seat theater with full surround, or unwind by the outdoor pool and hot tub during late-night creative bursts. The HVAC system is engineered to keep sensitive electronics stable, and the home's automation network allows remote adjustments from anywhere on the property. Security includes biometric entry, surveillance coverage, and a discreet 3-car garage for low-profile collaborator arrivals. 4 vocals. M leans on a Sennheiser SKM 5200 handheld wireless system fitted with an ME5000-5 capsule, his go-to for aggressive performances during the recovery period. He also keeps a Neumann U87 for neutral hooks and a Sony C800G tube microphone, the same model used throughout the Marshall Mathis LP, for polished clarity. His vocal chain routes into an Avalon VT737SP for warmth, followed by a Neve 1073 preamp for tonal thickness, with a Manley Voxbox handling fast flow dynamics. Mixing is done on an 80-channel SSL 4000G rig tied into an Avid Pro Tools HD workflow. Monitoring is provided by Focal Trio 6B speakers for precise playback. Additional equipment includes a Korg Triton 61-key workstation for melodic ideas, a TC Electronic 2290 delay for vocals on intense verses, and Antares Auto-Tune applied subtly for modern texture. Renovations dedicated to the studio wing pushed the mansion's value beyond $10 million, though Eminem sold the property in 2017 for $1.9 million, with another listing appearing in 2021 at $3.23 million. He now primarily records in Detroit-based spaces such as Effigy Studios, and if Eminem setup centers on Avalons and Manley processors, the next artist operates inside a facility driven by a 64-channel Neve console paired with custom 10,000-watt monitoring. Welcome to Snoop Dogg's Beach City Music Complex. When Snoop launched the Beach City Music Complex in Inglewood in 2016, he wasn't simply opening a studio, he was establishing a 20,000 square foot creative citadel, affectionately called the Mothership, where West Coast rap, film work, and freeform artistry intersect. Overseen by longtime collaborator DJ Pooh and engineered in partnership with Westlake Pro's professional audio team, this compound near Lax has become Snoop's central hub for recording, broadcasting, and steering ventures like Death Row Records. The complex houses 3 interlinked, spacecraft-inspired studios: Mothership Studio A, Battleship Studio B, and Starship Studio C, each calibrated for consistent sonic performance across the entire facility. Studio A operates as the flagship command hub, a wide production and mix environment anchored around a central console position. Studio B is engineered for 5.1 surround playback, outfitted with lounge-style seating for collective reviews and built-in video bays for broadcast preparation. Studio C was crafted as a creation zone for Snoop's son, Cordell Broadus, using movable furnishings tailored to rising artists. The acoustic work is fully professional, featuring custom Jockey panels, bass absorption, and diffusers calibrated for an even frequency field. Beyond the control rooms, the complex includes a full basketball court for downtime during Dre visits, an auto display area showcasing Snoop's vintage cars, and a radio suite designed for live Sirius XM transmissions. The equipment list is elite. At its core sits an AMS Neve Genesis Black 64-channel desk valued north of $100,000, loaded with Neve 1073 preamps on every strip and full diabo support. Main monitoring comes from custom Augsburger Quattro 410 units, the largest ever produced, armed with 4 15-inch woofers, dual 18-inch subs, and a 10,000-watt total output priced above $30,000. Additional Focal SM9 monitors in Studio B provide surgical precision for vocal checks. For vocals, Snoop relies on a Telefunken ELAM 251 tube microphone worth $15,000 for silky deliveries, while a Neumann U87 in Studio C captures guest material. Outboard racks include classic Pultec EQP-1A equalizers for tonal shaping, Teletronics LA2A and UREI 1176LN compressors for dynamic control, and a TubeTech CL1B to glue mix buses together. All systems route through Avid Pro Tools HDX with Slate Digital Raven touch displays enabling gesture-based control. Production tools include an Akai MPC 3000 for percussion programming and a Roland TR-808 for signature West Coast low-end. Custom Zur furniture allows ergonomic access during live instrument capture. While no public cost has been released, estimates place the full build between $5 and $10 million, accounting for Westlake and Pat's design and equipment integration. The facility has become the birthplace of modern anthems and renewed Death Row tributes, operating as a creative mothership for the region just minutes from LAX. And while Snoop's environment houses $15,000 Telefunken microphones with vintage Pultec processors, the following studio blends retro tape machine textures with a fresh SSL installation. Outcast's Stankonia Studios stands as a reminder that ownership can define destiny. When Andre 3000 and Big Boy purchased the property in 1998, they were signaling autonomy and artistic sovereignty. Set in Northwest Atlanta, this multi-suite property had already welcomed icons such as Elton John and Toni Braxton during its soundscape era, and later operated as Bobby Brown's Bossdown Recording Studios from 1990 to 1997. Outkast acquired it, renamed it after their milestone 4th album, and reshaped it into a vibrant creative world where experimentation thrives. Bobby Brown, who ran the facility before them, once described in an interview what drove the duo to take the reins.
A music studio in Atlanta?
Yes.
Andre 3000 and Big Boy, they recorded a song.
Yeah, they bought the studio from me. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What made you decide to own a studio?
Not wanting to spend my budget on other people's.
The facility spans an estimated 5,000 to 10,000 square feet, with numerous rooms arranged for adaptability. The main A room functions as the centerpiece, a tall, open control environment thoroughly updated at the time of purchase with fresh wiring, routing, and EQ infrastructure. The secondary suite handles Pro Tools only work, complemented by a 15 by 15 foot vocal booth and a vast warehouse-style live room so large it also stores Outkast touring equipment. That enormous chamber has hosted string ensembles, acoustic piano sessions, drum tracking, percussion layers, and full band performances with more than 30 musicians. In 2024, the team installed a new SSL Duality Fuse 48 fader console, valued between $100,000 and $150,000, replacing the long-serving SSL 4000G Plus that engineer John Fry rebuilt in 1998 with upgraded busing, EQ circuits, oversized VCA faders, and refreshed capacitors. That original board worked for 36 years and served as a bank of MIC preamps feeding Pro Tools. The updated Duality Fuse brings high-definition analog pres, an integrated Fusion mixbus processor for harmonics and cohesion, and a built-in bus compressor in the center section for signature glue. Monitoring relies on custom George Augsburger main speakers with TAD drivers and Bristol amplification, mounted for high SPL playback and recalibrated twice yearly. Woofers and diaphragms are replaced annually due to the extreme sound pressure levels they push through the system. They aren't designed for pristine hi-fi accuracy, but their rugged build makes them ideal for heavy studio use, running between $20,000 and $30,000 when custom ordered. For vocals, the team leans on a Neumann M149 tube microphone paired with an Avalon VT737 SP channel strip, supported by Avalon AD2055 EQs and AD2044 compressors to keep the signal clean and faithful. Additional Neve 1073 preamps cover drums, horns, and vocal tracking. For beat creation, an EMU SP1200 and an Akai MPC 3000 handle sequencing duties. The facility also houses Studer A82724 track tape machines and a Studer A820 for analog warmth, though by 2003 the workflow had shifted to roughly 95% Pro Tools. Effects processing includes a Yamaha SPX 1000 and soft synth staples such as Reason, FM7, Absynth, and Spectrasonics instruments, often blended with live elements. Andre exited the ownership in 2015, transferring his share to Big Boy, and the site continues to thrive as Big Boy's commercial hub, frequently booked by acts like Goody Mob, T.I., and Summer Walker. More recent sessions include Killer Mike's Grammy-winning Michael album. Outkast headquarters still operates around a 48-fader SSL console with custom Augsburger systems tuned twice a year. Yet the next studio turns towards scarce prototype consoles paired with classic tube microphones. This is Pharrell Williams' home studio, where Pharrell doesn't simply as the force behind global hits like Happy, Get Lucky with Daft Punk, and NERD's In Search Of. He transformed this environment into a hybrid workspace for his Billionaire Boys Club brand, merging sound, style, and design under one roof. Part of a real estate portfolio surpassing $200 million, the studio sits inside his glass-walled Hollywood Hills residence, built around natural light and open architecture. The production footprint spans several rooms, studios A, B, and C, totaling roughly 2,000 to 3,000 square feet within the larger estate. Studio A serves as the main command room, wrapped in bold teal and yellow tones with shelves of curated artwork to prime creative sparks. Studios B and C are compact, movable setups for writing and recording, all linked through Pro Tools for fast interchange. The equipment roster mixes vintage rarities with modern tools. Center stage is a rare Armec G2520 console prototype, one of only 7 ever manufactured, valued at more than $50,000. For DAW control, the secondary suites house a DigiDesign Pro control surface. Pharrell's microphone collection spans a vintage Neumann U67 tube model for lush vocals, a Telefunken ELA M251 priced at around $15,000 for detail capture, an AKG C12 VR for neutral accuracy, and Neumann TLM 170 and TLM 103 condensers for broader applications. The vocal chain routinely passes through an Avalon VT737 SP for tonal warmth, followed by a TubeTech CL1B optical compressor for smooth dynamic shaping. Additional outboard includes a Teletronics LA2A for transparent leveling, a DBX 160 for punchy drum compression, and Neve 9098 EQ units for sculpting tone. Monitoring is handled by Genelec 1037A 3-way active speakers, Yamaha NS10MS for real-world reference, custom Augsburger systems for high-volume playbacks, along with Mackie, Pro AC, and IK Multimedia iLoud micro monitors for multiple listening perspectives. Beat creation pivots around an Ensoniq ASR10 sampler for loop manipulation, famously used in the making of Get Lucky. Multiple Roland JV synth modules, including the JV580, JV1080, and JV2080, sit alongside a Korg microKORG for sound design on tracks like Drop It Like It's Hot. A Korg 01W and Triton Extreme serve as keyboard workstations, paired with an Access Virus TI Polar for synth textures, a Yamaha Motif rack, and the iconic Roland TR-808 for foundational rhythms. Everything operates through Avid Pro Tools or Apple Logic Pro, with virtual tools such as Spectrasonics Omnisphere for presets, Waves Renaissance Compressor on 18 channels, Metric Halo Channel Strip, Sony Oxford Dynamics, Waves DSers, and UAD or Waves SSL channel plugins. Conversion is handled by Apogee Rosetta units for analog to digital and digital to analog accuracy. Control surfaces include M-Audio Axiom 61, Oxygen 4. A full-size grand piano sits tucked throughout the space, feeding melodies into the studio's vibrant creative flow. And while Pharrell's rooms lean on Ensoniq samplers and Access Vira synth engines, the next artist operates a setup built around gold-plated Neumann microphones and SSL consoles engineered to move. This is Timbaland's mobile recording studio, an operation built for motion. Most producers rely on fixed locations to craft hits. Timbaland transformed an entire vehicle into a traveling production powerhouse. His mobile studio exemplifies peak portability, converting a luxury tour coach into a fully equipped music lab that generated records for Justin Timberlake, Missy Elliott, and One Republic while cruising down interstates. Launched around 2010 inside a custom coach, the post coach known as Oracle or the MMG Tour Bus, valued between $1.30 and $2 million, the unit enabled Tim to shape albums like Future Sex Love Sounds without stepping off the road. The vehicle's layout featured a soundproof room-within-a-room design, a floating inner chamber mounted on isolators to eliminate highway rumble and engine resonance. This central production zone, roughly 100 to 200 square feet, included a compact mixing desk, a connected vocal booth with direct sightlines, and modular gear racks built for in-motion access. Acoustic treatment used dense foam, bass trapping, and multi-layer paneling with neoprene separation to achieve wideband damping, giving Timbaland the flat, bass-driven response he demanded. Life on the bus blended directly with the studio workflow. A MIC mounted at the passenger seat for on-the-move demos, a lounge with leather seating for idea sessions, a kitchen for quick resets, and sleeping bunks supporting overnight production marathons. Custom touches range from marble flooring to app-controlled LED lighting and stabilized vac systems designed to protect sensitive tube hardware. Power came via onboard generators with solar backups for off-grid operation. Built by Pro Audio Nerds Incorporated, the project totaled between $1.30 and $2 million. Approximately $500,000 for the coach itself and another $800,000 for the audio integration. At its center sat an SSL Matrix console, a hybrid analog-digital board with 16 by 16 channels and super analog preamps, Timbaland's routing core for mixing sessions on the move. Monitoring relied on custom Augsburger cabinet speakers featuring dual woofers and horn tweeters, roughly $20,000, and Genelec 7380A subs priced near $2,000 apiece for low-end extension, supported by KRK VXD4 monitors for quick referencing. Tim's trademark microphone was a gold-plated Neumann U87 valued at about $3,200 plus the plating cost, often used handheld in the front seat for impromptu recordings. Additional signal processing came from 7 SSL-X Logic X-Rack modules, each around $5,000, providing modular EQ, preamp, and compression control. Avid Pro Tools HD handled all editing. Beat production centered on a Korg Triton 61-key workstation. An Open Labs Timbaland Mo controller priced between $2,000 and $3,000 co-designed by Tim himself, and a Yamaha Motif ES7 for pads and textures. The original coach was sold in 2021, with components like the SSL Matrix later auctioned for around $10,000. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the journey,